Behind me is a relief depicting a story of a little Vietnamese village long ago. The men of the village had left to go fight a war, and all that was left in the village were women and children. And then the village was attacked. The women rose up in spite of their fear, and they saved the village. We need to acknowledge our fear in order to develop our courage. In our society, it takes great courage to even admit we're afraid. Even the New Age movement says, get rid of your fear. Don't ever act from fear, only act from love. But fear that is denied, repressed, surfaces as anxiety. Now, we're allowed to say, I'm anxious, I have a little anxiety, that's sort of okay. But what's underneath that is, I'm really afraid, I'm scared. Pema Chodron, a wonderful teacher, says we should consider ourselves lucky when fear appears, because as we see fear, we get closer to the truth of ourselves. Last weekend, I gave a little workshop, and it was called The Dance Between Fear and Joy. And we all realized how hard it was to say out loud, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. And then we noticed that as we could really say what we're afraid of, things like death, I'm afraid of death, I'm afraid of being alone, I'm afraid I won't be enough. As we began to say those things, actually, the fear began to dissolve and soften. Now, this workshop was also about joy and how fear and joy interface with each other. It's hard in our society to say we're happy. It's hard in our society to say we feel joyful too. Oh, that happiness could be taken away in a minute, or maybe we don't deserve happiness. But somehow there's this wonderful interrelationship between acknowledging fear and acknowledging joy. The word anxious means both. I'm anxious, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm anxious, I'm excited. So what we began to see was that as fear faced joy, both became richer and deeper experiences. When fear looked at joy, it became lighter and less stuck in itself. And when joy faced fear, it was more compassionate, more caring. Try to say out loud what you're afraid of. Don't be afraid of fear. And try to enter into joy with its dance partner.